new band of rebels arose who were determined to carry the fight to Jerusalem. The SICARII. To the SICARII, anyone who wasn't fighting the Romans was a collaborator and worthy of death.
Many were slain every day, and the fear men were in was worse than the calamity itself.
Well, you mentioned something earlier about God always forgives. What'd you have?
So I remembered. So if God was so good, why did He do Lucifer in that way?
Lucifer?
So if God was such a good person, and we knew what
You know what you're doing? You know what you're doing again?
asking questions.
No. You're being a Catholic. I don't mind the questions, but you're being a Catholic right now. You took what you learned in that Catholic church and you're bringing it. That's not a problem though. But that's a Catholic dogma. That's not in the Bible. Let's get that first. You got it? Give me that.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say, though.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course I know what you're trying to say.
Like,
Give me Job. So Lucifer got kicked out of heaven and now he's an enemy of God and
yeah, like
No.
he's supposed to be so good.
the evil guy. And,
Why is he?
hold on, what? He's a good guy. What'd you say?
No, not Lucifer. God. Like if he's such a good guy,
Give me Isaiah 45 first.
he
actually.
always forgives and everything. Why?
See, that's what the
Like,
church
why?
says.
Why?
We don't agree with that. Let's just read the Bible to you. This is a good brother, you know. I appreciate you listening. What you got first? Yeah, give me this first. Let's prove what Lucifer is. You know Lucifer only appears once in the Bible? One time. We're going to read what it's talking about.
So this is Isaiah 14. Let me start at 3. And it shall come to pass. No, let me start at 4. And thou shalt take up this proverb.
This proverb. What's a proverb? It's like a saying. Go ahead.
In the NLT it says, "You will taunt the king of Babylon." Okay, back to the King James. And thou shalt take this proverb against the king of Babylon.
The king of Babylon. That's somebody on earth, right? Go ahead.
And say, How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked.
Read.
And the scepter of the rulers.
Go ahead.
And he smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger.
Go ahead.
And persecuted and none hindereth. Look at it in the LT. Look, you struck the people endless blows of rage, and held nations in your grip, in your angry grip, with unrelenting tyranny. But finally, the earth is at rest.
Finally, the earth's at rest. Has this happened yet? It hasn't happened yet. Go ahead. So it's talking about a person, right? Or a ruler, some type of kingdom. Go ahead.
Now it can sing again. Even the trees of the forest, the cypress trees and the cedars of Lebanon, sing out this joyous song. Since you have been cut down, no one will come now to cut us down. In the place of the dead, there is excitement over your arrival.
Read on.
The spirits of the world leaders and mighty kings, long dead, stand up to see you. With one voice they shall cry out, now you are as weak as we are. Verse 11 in the KJV.
So it's talking about the same context, right? It's all about a kingdom and a king. Read.
Thy pomp brought down to the grave.
Read.
And the noise of thy boils, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Oh, how art thou fallen of heaven from heaven? This is going back to.
Wait a minute. We read about heaven earlier. How God was mad at Israel and casted them down from heaven. But that's not literal, right? It's talking about them taking out of rulership. It's the same verbiage here. Read that again.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
So is this a spiritual person or is this a king of Babylon like we read? The king of Babylon, right? Go, give me that in the Hebrew. Let's see what it means in the Hebrew. So we haven't gone to the Hebrew much, but let's see what Lucifer means in the Hebrew language, where they translated it from. Go ahead.
So
This is.
it's not basically similar. It's like it's related, just different phrase.
Lucifer is just a title. It's not a spiritual. It has nothing to do with anything spiritual. The
So-
church says that, but
So in a way, Lucifer would be like government. Yeah.
sure, exactly. Exactly. So you get it.
So this is the Hebrew word in the Hebrew lexicon, which is a dictionary, basically, right? 1966, Hillel, and it means Lucifer, light bearer, shining one, morning star Lucifer, of the king of Babylon.
Of the king of Babylon. Lucifer is just like how a light's at the top of your ceiling in the house. That's what it represents. He's a ruler at the top of the heap. That's all it's saying. Go ahead.
Hillel, describing the king of Babylon.
Describing the king of Babylon. Go ahead.
And of course, the Christian that put this together also put the king of Babylon and figuratively Satan, right? But it got nothing to do with Satan in the context that we read, because it was talking about a proverb against the king of Babylon, if you remember verse 5, right?
But then, what is Satan?
We can get that in a second. We don't get that in a second. We're just proving to you that Lucifer has nothing to do with what you just described earlier. Go ahead.
Okay.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weakest the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven.
Is this a spiritual heaven? It's not, right? Because heaven can be what? A condition and rulership. Go ahead.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
Read.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, right?
Ooh, is this hell? Is this somebody going to burn? Are we getting that? Are we getting an understanding now, or is it different understanding?
No,
Because people get these triggers based on these words. Oh hell! Oh my God! Wait a minute. We just read that Israelites going into captivity was hell, right? So it can't just be dying and burning. Like no, it's a condition. Read.
To the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee.
Wait a minute. We read this slow.
They that see thee
So it's talking about Lucifer. Somebody's seeing Lucifer, right? Go ahead.
shall narrowly look upon thee,
You're gonna look upon Lucifer and say what?
and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as wild as a wilderness,
Read.
and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house.
that sounds like the government right there.
You get it, brother. You're an Israelite. You see how easy that was to get?
I'm like, you just described the government right there.
And that's exactly what it's talking about. Who weakened the nations outside of America, per se? America has the strongest government due to the military, right?
Yeah.
So all across the world conquering and pillaging people, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? But guess what? It said what? Is this the man that made the earth to tremble? Right? But it's talking about Lucifer. So is Lucifer a man, or is Lucifer just a figure of speech, per se?
It's probably
A title.
it's probably just the title, and
course.
it's what you make it yourself.
I mean,
guess
you can't,
it's like.
but if we go off what you make it yourself, we can go off what the Christian church says, which is not true.
Well, no, but I mean, do you believe what they want you to believe, like about what's good and what's wrong? You know.
Who's
like,
they? I believe what God
Christian
says.
Church, Catholic Church.
I don't go to those poorhouses. I don't go there. I read. You know how we said this is our ancestors' book? I'm not going to listen to somebody that learned from their enemy, because the theological schools that people go to become a pastor were started by
Well, I mean, because
and white people in slavery.
Back then, you know how there's knights and whatnot, like
Knights?
Knights.
You talking like medieval times, things like that?
Yeah. So and churches, you know, that's what they did. You know, churches would fight and whatnot. Like, what? How that changed?
Churches would fight.
Well, yeah, you know, medieval.
Well, I don't know about
medieval
churches
times,
being fighters,
There
but-
were churches that would go.
Oh, you talking about the Crusades and all that? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So like, how did it change after that? Like, how did
What do you
they
mean?
become so good after that? Like, oh no more fighting and whatnot. you know.
Well, they conquered who they needed to conquer.
Well,
They already
you know,
conquered. they already did what they wanted to do. Just like the
They
Muslims.
beat everyone into submission. That's
Yeah, the Muslims and the Christians conquered who they had to conquer.
So if that happened,
That wasn't in the name of God, though.
no,
That was their
I'm
own
not-
wicked ambition.
No, yeah.
That has nothing to do with the Bible.
Okay.
In reference to spirituality,
All right,
you know what I
I
mean?
was going on topic right there. All right, no, you're right. You're right. I was gonna be like, so then who's in charge now? It's
Who's
like-
in charge?
Yeah.
We know who's in charge. You already said it.
Yeah.
The government's in charge. The so-called white man. What you have?
like this. Okay. This is out of an article. Like even some Christian churches recognize it's Lucifer that is talking about the king of Babylon. Look, the prophesied destruction of Babylon in Isaiah 13 symbolizes that what will happen to those who fight against the people of God and those whose hearts are set upon things of the world instead of things of God. Isaiah 14 is more especially about the king of Babylon, whom Isaiah compared to Lucifer. Like it's a title.
Your shoes are crazy and your face is crazy. Anyways.
Yeah, so Lucifer is literally the king of Babylon, right? Because Isaiah 13 was prophesying the destruction of Babylon, and then when chapter 14 comes around, the king of Babylon was named as Lucifer. You know what I mean? The top star. You know what I'm saying? The light.
Yeah, give me Job first. Let's see how Satan operates under God's will. Job, go ahead.
This is Job 1:1. There was a man. Oh, yeah. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil.
Read on.
And there was born unto them sons and seven sons and daughters. So when we get down to it, then we get down to verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
The sons of God here would be angels, right? Go ahead.
And Satan came also among them.
All right, read that.
So verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
Satan came to see the Lord. I thought they were beefing. I thought they were fighting. There was a war in heaven.
He was cast out from heaven.
When did the war happen? If there's a war in heaven, when did the war happen? Because Satan's coming up there to God right now. Go ahead.
And this is like a divine council among the spirits, the angels, right? And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou?
Where'd you come from? Go ahead.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Wait a minute. Why didn't he say he's coming from hell? if that's where he's banished to.
That's right.
Why isn't he just in hell sending messages to the Lord? That's
Yeah.
not true. That's just ridiculous. Satan does what God wants him to do. Go ahead. We can prove it.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, and a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?
Read.
Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast thou not made an hedge about him,
Yeah, you protecting Job. Go ahead.
and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side?
Read on.
Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance increaseth in the land.
Go ahead.
But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he hath.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So Satan right here is telling him, But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee in thy face.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only put upon himself, put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
Yeah, that's all that happened. Hey, God, you bless Job all this. I guarantee you, if you curse him, he's going to curse you. That's all he said. Why weren't they beefing? Hey, I'm bringing my angels back. And like, no. Satan does exactly what God tells him to do. There's no, if he's all powerful, he created Satan.
So Satan's not a bad guy.
He does God's will, period. People can classify him as bad,
Oh, okay.
even though he is a a force of on the negative side, the left hand side.
So
He's an enemy to us. That's what tempts you per se. You know what I mean? God isn't going to tempt you to do wickedness.
So what about like the Illuminati and stuff? How does?
Well, yeah, they're tapped in with Satan for sure.
Yeah, all right, for sure.
Of course.
Because everyone.
That's who their God is.
Yeah,
That's who their
they
God is.
believe
Yeah.
That's pure evil and whatnot.
Give me that in 2 Corinthians. So yeah, you get that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, somebody has to be, like if wickedness runs the earth, like how do they get all this influence and power from? Because if you like, you familiar with the Illuminati, you know, that goes Freemasonry, whatever the case may be, that's real. But they do tap into the left hand spiritual power of Satan.
What about like the vibrations and stuff, the meditation and like frequencies? Like
Frequencies?
How does that? How would you?
I mean, what type of frequencies?
Like
Music and sounds.
Sounds.
I mean, there's evidence of sounds healing people and things like that, and obviously the
Or affecting your subconscious too.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's how Illuminati based media.
well, musically, I mean, there's certain vibrations, that they tap into and they put spells on the music, things like that. But that's only if you like aren't mentally strong. Like honestly, if you're a dodo brain, like of course you're gonna just have that in the your subconscious, and that's proof of people not really being spiritual. You know what I mean? Because we can listen to hip hop and rap and all that type of stuff, but they're promoting things that I don't support. It might be cool to listen to every now and then. I listen to rap every now and then, whatever, but I'm not internalizing it and making it my lifestyle. You know what I mean?
It's like the rhythm and shit that
Yeah.
they listen to. Not
Because they
what
did
they're
change the
saying.
frequency of the music pitch, how we listen to it, to something that's not really healthy for us, but there's frequency in your clothing. I just posted that on my Instagram. How God says, don't mix wool and cotton together.
Oh yeah, I
Or
saw that,
polyester and cotton together.
a couple weeks ago. I
You
saw
seen that, right?
Yeah, I saw.
And that's already in the Bible. That was before science even. See how science catches up to God?
No,
And you see, there's a lady, right? That said
Well-
somebody.
that's what I meant though. So it's catching up to God. So.
But everything
wouldn't it catch
isn't
up to God
everything
and
isn't
at
official,
the
though.
And end up just restarting, like we catch
What do
up
you mean?
and just
What do you mean restart?
starting it over again. Like I don't know.
Starting over with what?
Creating again. Like
No, there's no more
beginning.
creation. God's not doing any creating anymore.
Scientists can't catch up. Like how you said, catch
How?
up.
How?
with
No,
the
I'm not saying
technology.
catch up like that. I'm saying catch up with what they're describing, what's already here.
Oh, okay.
yeah, like the information is catching up to
Oh, okay,
what you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, them, like you saw a video of them saying, oh, if you mix a positive and negative fabric together, it's zero. God already put that in the Bible thousands of years ago. That's why we're supposed to keep the laws of God. But everything I got on is 100%. I have a positive frequency according to the science that we're referencing. But most people, you go to shopping, I'm going to pick up this shirt, it looks nice, but guess what? That's a 50-50 tag on it.
Yeah.
You're wearing zero frequency or zero, or you're basically breaking even per se.
Just like.
But the shoes aren't. That's
the
not.
shoes also the rubber and shit.
I mean, we can't control that per se, but we don't count that as a garment. Garments are your shirts, your jackets,
But I mean,
your
this
pants,
is what
your underwear.
grounds us.
I
though.
mean, the concrete. I mean, why do you think they put in concrete all over the earth? The white man destroyed the earth laying concrete. You know who did this? The Romans created all this. Like they,
Romans?
yeah, throughout the whole world, they had like literally concrete all over it, right? So like if you're talking about people when they want to ground, like I've heard of that. People like
Yeah, I brought that out a while ago.
they walk barefoot on the earth.
Yeah.
Like and even a lot of athletes perform that before they start playing. They ground. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But we're not grounded because you were just saying because of our rubber or our shoes. But we couldn't even ground anyways because
Exactly.
we're walking around on concrete, which is totally unnatural to the human. And that's
Yeah,
why
it's
a lot of us are coming with back issues, knee problems, because we're not meant to walk on this. The white man literally destroyed the earth and put concrete everywhere.
Exactly. And I brought this out a minute ago, just real quick. We don't get to the verses here. I watched a video where a guy had like these metal prongs, and he put like prongs in the ground, and he run it through his window, and he attached it to like a sticker on his
and
back.
he
You seen
slept-
that before?
he
And he
slept-
slept, and he
yeah.
said it healed everything. Why is that though?
With
It's grounding. It's a form of
how?
grounding.
Yeah.
walking on concrete is not healthy for anybody.
Just the same reason they use the fucking thing to
What, to jumpstart your heart?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
like you need the electricity and the car also. Like you need the ground and
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
it's like same concept, but it's
Yeah,
like,
similar concept. Yeah, our body has electricity in it. We have all minerals in our body already: iron, gold, silver, everything that we see that's out there. It's already in our body already. That's why you take iron pills and calcium. And we already have that in us. You know what I mean? But all the food we eat strips us of those nutrients. But for the most part, we're not gonna die if we lose everything. But some people have a lack of iron. Some people have a lack of what's another one? Yeah, like I said, calcium, things like that, all that type of stuff. Yeah, all those deficiencies happen over time due to us not taking care of our bodies and obviously not eating proper things. But let's get back to the Bible real quick. What you holding? Let's get this real quick. So like 4 and 4. 2 Corinthians 4 and 4. One more about because you said about the Illuminati, quote unquote. Read.
2 Corinthians 4 and 4, in whom the God of this world.
The God of this world is who?
Satan.
Satan. This is a spiritual person. The God of this world. The principality here. Go ahead.
And in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine onto them.
Yeah, we believe what goes on in the Christian church, the Catholic church, any church on earth that doesn't teach the truth of the Bible, they're blinded by Satan, the spiritual God, the God that they think they serve. Because the doctrine that people come with up here, we have plenty. You said you've listened to us for a while, brother?
Well, I live down the street, so every time I'm off work,
You walk by us in here.
Yeah.
We on YouTube though. If you go on YouTube, there's plenty of dialogues like this with Christians and people that believe contrary to what we're saying, and you're receiving it. You know what I mean? Because you're not caught up in the doctrine. You've heard it before. You presented it to us, but you're not caught up enough to where those guys are lying. Like you're not blinded mentally, spiritually. You know what I mean? Because God can do that to people.
Yeah.
It says God can blind you. You know what I mean? He can choose your delusion. It says that literally. But let's get to the last subject before you go. I know you got to go probably.
Yeah.
I just want to, and I want
What's
to
that?
I said I got my cat.
Oh, your cat?
and I want to
Touch on something too about you keep bringing up the Illuminati and stuff, right? And how they always go back to this image, right? Baphomet image. This was a created image from a Jewish man named Eliphaz Levi, right? So basically, when you see people submitting themselves to Baphomet, it's a symbolic. What's it called? It's symbolic, basically them submitting themselves to the control of these so-called Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? The controllers of the world, the Illuminati.
It's only to the Jewish, or
Well, of course.
The Jewish man runs the world behind the scenes.
So when you see them like with altars to Baphomet, that's just symbolically saying I'm in subjection to this goat. And if you go back in the Hebrew, we can show you also that the Edomites or the Amalekites, which descend from Edom, are described as hairy goats.
Exactly.
They go back to Mount Seir, which is the same word for hairy goat. And this is why they chose
They call them devils in the
yeah,
Bible.
and they call them devils.
They call them devils
So
in
this
the
is
Bible.
why Eliphaz Levi chose the symbol of the goat, and I got all these idiots, you know what I mean, submitting themselves to this image. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's deep, brother.
Which is symbolic to them submitting themselves to them.
But yeah.
With that picture right there, do you guys think Jesus is a good person, or like?
Of course. That's not Jesus, though. You believe that's Jesus?
Well, not
'Cause
the,
you
not
mentioned-
that picture, not the
Yeah.
picture, but I mean, obviously everyone sees it and they're like, all right, it's a image of Jesus, but like.
But if you read the Bible, it doesn't say he looks like that.
No, heck no.
Yeah.
No. I know.
But
Jerusalem
the enemy
and everything.
brought that to our people.
Yeah.
That's why we don't have a problem saying, "Oh well, God loves everybody," but at the same time,
But,
like we said earlier, your ancestors got conquered by those same people.
Yeah. The Romans, he got crucified, and what happened after? They just kept on going, you know.
Yeah, they
Nothing
were slaughtering
happened
people.
after- Yeah, nothing happened after that.
Yeah, where's the judgment? Where's the righteous judgment from God?
Yeah.
It's going to happen in the future once we get right. That's how
Right.
that's already written. All we gotta do is step on that path and follow the path that God put in line for us. And obviously, God's gonna choose who He wants on that path, but we're still influencing the people to choose that path. Read.
This is Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
If God's the ultimate creator, He created everything. If you believe Satan's evil, God created him.
Why would he create evil though?
Give me Proverbs 11.
Like, that's why I don't understand. Why would he make someone so bad? Like, it makes...
Give me Romans 9 and like 19. Why would He do it? He's God. Read.
Proverbs 11 and 1.
Let's read it.
A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is His delight.
It's balance. Do you believe in balance? So there's good and evil, right?
You wouldn't be done.
Yeah, He wouldn't be God if He just chose people to do one thing. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
In a way, yeah, it sounds like dictatorship in a way.
If you create everything and control everything, that's not dictatorship. Dictatorship is like you can't do something now, but if I tell you to do something later, technically I wouldn't be in the wrong for saying no. But at the end of the day, if we choose to not operate in that direction, we're gonna be punished for it.
And also, dictators appoint themselves. You know what I'm saying? God created everything. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to be appointed. He didn't have to take and says, I am Him. He created everything. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And if you don't believe that, then hey, you go with science. That says we come from monkeys or fish or all that type of garbage.
They got a new one. We came from like gerbils and trees. It's
Madness. Who created the trees?
Yeah.
Who created gerbils? You see how dumb it gets? People believe there's dinosaurs on Earth. No, there's no dinosaurs. No. That's
What about like weed?
weed. I mean, it's an herb. It's medicine.
But don't we create that?
Excuse me?
Don't they modify it to?
Right now, we talked about this last week. We don't believe weed is bad, but if you smoke it, it's bad. Smoke doesn't belong in your lungs.
I heard about that. Yeah, like just to smell the aroma and stuff.
Well, no, it's
Not
medicine. You can
burning.
literally ingest it. Like that's what it's meant for. You can put it in tea, butter, like all the stuff is pretty fine. But we're not saying you can just do it to get high. You know what I mean? It's medicinal. That's literally what the store is for. It's right on the street.
Yeah.
But it's medicinal. But people just smoke it all like, you know what I mean? They're chasing a high, and that's literally a side effect. That high feeling is a side effect. You smoking, putting it in your lungs, you coughing, that's not natural. I just read an article last week talking about people that smoke weed are more likely to have a form of psychosis and schizophrenia. I just read that. It's an article that came out last year, but I read it last week when you weren't here, obviously. But there's a dude that came up to us talking about he smokes. I'm going to tell you about what you're doing. There's science coming out more and more talking about you can get schizophrenia and a form of psychosis by smoking weed, especially the weed that's in the shops. You know what I mean? Growing it yourself is not a problem, even if you want to ingest it, like I said. But the stuff that you're smoking on, like, that's not natural.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to put chemicals in it. Even though, like I said, it's not necessarily an issue per se, but smoking it afterwards, you're ingesting all those chemicals as well.
And also, we'll be amiss if we don't bring up
Yeah.
vaping too. That's real bad for you. That's
What'd you say?
vaping.
Peruvian this?
No, we will be amiss. Like we'll be wrong if we don't tell you like what you're doing to your lungs right now with vaping. You're killing yourself. Man. Like those oils that they make the juice out of.
Yeah.
That's made out of food-based oil that doesn't belong in our lungs.
Well, I mean, food right now is basically the same thing.
What's that?
Food right now, like what they.
Food isn't going in your lungs. That smoke you're smoking is going in your lungs.
Well, I
That
mean,
oil doesn't belong in your lungs
It
either.
goes into your body though. Like you ingest it, digest it.
You see what you're doing now?
Same,
you see what you're doing now?
thing.
What's that?
Same thing.
No. You're justifying your wickedness. That's wicked, brother.
No, I'm just asking.
You might not see it that way, but I'm just saying you putting that in your lungs is wickedness, honestly. You're defiling your body.
Oh, with the smoke.
Yeah, with the
Oh,
smoke.
okay,
You're
okay,
poisoning.
okay.
You're poisoning yourself, literally.
And look up the depths of vapors. They're like beating smokers right now.
Because it's faster.
And it's like a faster death.
Yeah, it's faster.
Like I remember vaping just started, and then like within like a year and a half, the first death of vaping came by, and that's where they coined the term popcorn lungs. They die of what's called popcorn lungs. Like every time they breathe, it's like a popping sound.
It's choking up part of your lungs too. Like how you smoke cigarettes or whatever the case may be. That's worse than cigarettes actually. That's like 5 times worse. You know what I mean? Even though it's not tobacco per se, but when you smoke that and put it in your lungs are getting constrained and you're poisoning it. That's why if somebody dies from smoking, they're gonna take their lungs out. It's gonna be charcoal black. Why?
So it's highly more addictive because it's more concentrated of nicotine in there. That's why people have a hard time even vaping right now.
And it's supposed to be like you're weaning off of smoking cigarettes or weed, but it's worse.
So, is there such thing as heaven or hell? Like, not like on earth, but like
Well,
after,
yeah,
like,
of course. We just read that. There's 3 heavens according to Paul. The 3rd heaven is what we talked about. Hell is different. Hell in the Bible, we already read one part of hell. Give me Jonah. And actually, go back to what we about to get.
No, well, there is going to be a kingdom of heaven here on earth, and that's the world to come, right? And only those that are found worthy, when that day comes of the destruction of this kingdom, that's what God's going to save. And whoever he doesn't find worthy are going to be killed by nuclear fire or by the destruction that's coming to this place. So yes, it's a punishment and there's a reward coming.
Yeah.
So what we're living right now, it's not a punishment? Like,
I mean, right now, but it's not the ultimate judgment, though. You know what I mean? The judgment is when North Korea and Russia pushes the button and nukes hit this place. That's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? That's already been written. You know what I mean? So, hell, like I said, give me that. Matter of fact, give me Luke 16. Let's talk.
The political climate is perfect for it right now. If you know what's happening in the world right now, like we're really close to nuclear war right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What? Luke 16 about Lazarus. What you got? You go ahead.
This is Jonah chapter 2 from the top. It says, Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly.
Out of the fish's belly, Jonah got swallowed by a whale. You familiar with that?
Is that like what's that book called?
This is Jonah.
Mr. Jonah, right?
Yeah, it's the book of Jonah. You read it before?
No, not the Book of Jonah. It sounds like the movie that they made.
Like Moby Dick?
Yeah,
Oh,
there
yeah,
you
yeah.
go.
Go ahead.
Khan.
You probably got it from the Bible, because that did happen recently, actually. You seen the video? Dude get swallowed by a whale?
No.
That happened like 2 years ago. But go ahead.
Khan, Jonah 2. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly, and said, I cried by reason of my affliction
Cried by reason of my affliction. Read.
unto the Lord, and he heard me. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heardest my voice.
He was in hell. Now, if we go to the Hebrew, you got the Hebrew put up? Give me the Hebrew. And what you got? Luke 16? You know what I want? Give me the Hebrew for hell. Let's see what it says. Go ahead.
Khan, this is that same verse. Out of hell, this is Strong's H7585. And it says Sheol.
Sheol, read.
It says underworld, grave, hell, pit. And
Now, underworld, that's what they put. We don't believe that. But it's talking about the grave. If you die, you're in hell because you're in the dirt, in the pit of the earth. That's what it's talking about. Or it could be talking about what? You're going through something. Affliction. That's the hell that it's talking about. You know what I mean? Now, if you go to the Catholic Church, they're going to tell you it's a spiritual realm that somebody dies and their spirit burns. That's impossible. You said it earlier, right? It's impossible. It doesn't make sense. That's not science. You know? That's Greek mythology. What'd you have? 20. Revelation 20 and 4. But let's read this verse. It's a little bit shorter. Give me this. 14.
this is Revelation 20 and 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death.
How does hell get casted into fire? The lake of fire. How does that work? Oh, we can explain it. Hell is talking about, like, because when the end time prophecy happens and who are called Christ returns, people are going to be raised up out of the grave. and they're going to be thrown to the lake of fire. The lake of fire is going to be in America when it gets hit by nuclear fire. That's what it's talking about. That's all it means. So people that are already dead, that's why it's called a second death. You die if you're already dead at that time. Either you're going to die at that point if you're alive, or you're going to die again if you're already dead and get raised up and thrown to the lake and die a second time. That's what it's talking about. So hell can't be a spiritual realm because hell is supposed to be already fire, right? It just the logic doesn't make sense.
A place can't be thrown into another place, basically.
But why are we gonna be born again just to die again?
Well, no, born again that doesn't mean what you're saying. Born again is give me Romans 12.
Damn, you got all that shit memorized.
This is my life, bro. This is our book, right?
That's right.
We live this. We breathe this.
Right.
We eat, sleep, and do all that.
Think about.
This is our job. It's free of charge, actually. We don't get paid for this.
Right.
Because we love to do it. This is our book. That's why we have to do this. We have to dispel all the lies, all the stuff that people come up here and tell us that we don't agree with. We don't have to argue about it. But biblically, we got to teach this truth.
But
You know what I mean?
I feel the same way. It's just like there's always a question, you know. It's like I
Absolutely.
have to like know, you know, like I believe everything, you
Yeah.
know, but it's like why, you know?
That's a great question. That's where it starts, too.
Why? It's like why?
Romans 12 and 1. Yep. And give me you can drop that. You can drop it. They said be born again. Give me John 3. Go ahead.
This is Romans 12 from the top. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God,
Matter of fact, give me that 1 Peter 3. Go ahead.
that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice,
Go ahead.
holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
Yeah, you got to be holy, which is what? Separate. Like, we're not allowed to eat certain things. We're not allowed to wear certain things. Like we said earlier, the frequency of the clothes. We can't wear mixed fabric. God already told us that. So guess what? We have to be holy and separate from everybody else that wears that type of stuff. That's just one simple law we have to keep. Why? Because it's perfect. God already knew about the frequency of the clothes because he created the clothes. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And be not conformed to this world.
Don't be conformed to this world. What does that mean?
Don't do what they tell you to
Exactly.
do.
Don't do what the world does. Don't do Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, Easter, all that garbage. That is pagan. They all go back to pagan deities, which is a sin. The ideology. Exactly. Idolatry, excuse me.
Every single holiday is a sin, basically.
Exactly. Exactly. For the most part.
Gluttony is
yeah, I saw
Thanksgiving, and yeah.
Oh, you talking about the 7 deadly sins? I mean,
Christmas is greed and.
nah, Christmas
so
isn't
on.
greed. That's just, it's
people-
idolatry. It's idolatry. Literally.
People just want gifts and they're thinking about.
Well, no, it's not about the gifts. It's about that idolatry behind it.
So basically, like with this whole deadly sins, 7 deadly sins, that goes back to a poem by Dante. It's called I forget what it's called. Dante's Inferno, right? So, and then they have 7 different layers of hell representing the 7 deadly sins. But sin is sin. So yes, you're right about these holidays are sins. You're committing idolatry. You're offending God by celebrating these holidays at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not just 7 sins either. Like, even though, I mean, that's somebody's made up interpretation of a sin. Our 7 deadly sins, like, Christmas isn't tied to greed. Like, that's, no. It's about the tree, the symbolism behind the tree, the presence under the tree, the day itself. That all goes back to ancient Babylon.
But supposedly it's supposed to be when Jesus.
Sure, supposedly, but that's a lie. That's not in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're a sharp brother, man. Go ahead.
This is Romans 12 and 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed
Be transformed how?
by the renewing of your mind.
By the renewing of your mind. That's how you're born again mentally. Because what you think is what you do for the most part, right? So if you think differently, you're going to do differently. Us being renewed is knowing who we are, biblically. We're the Israelites. We have to do what God tells us to do. It's not a dictatorship. It's what we agreed to in the ancient world. If you read Deuteronomy 28, give me Deuteronomy 28, actually.
So basically, like just learning, basically.
Exactly. Because Jesus, who the world called Jesus, says what? You got to come as a child and learn. So, how old are you, brother?
30.
30. in your 30 years, have you ever heard this before? Exactly. So you're still 30 years old, but guess what? You're as a child learning right now.
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to be. Be willing to listen and learn. And you have the spirit for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So other people will be like, oh, no, I don't agree with that. Like, you're just stuck on, like, the science aspect. But it's not a problem, like you said. You learn a lot that way.
Yeah,
you can come back to the Bible and reference it. Okay, let me see how it measures up to this.
It's not like I believe it. I'm just like.
I'm not saying it's a problem believing it, though. I'm not saying
asking why, like why.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a problem in believing it
That's
because
not what I'm
there's a measuring stick to truth. And that's all science means. Science just means to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some things they make up to disprove the Bible, disprove God. Because white people are not of God. Like, honestly, they're not.
And also they got these things that called, most of like a lot of it's called theory. You see, there's like different levels of these things are called a hypothesis first, and then it goes to theory, and then from theory it turns into law. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, and a lot of these things are just theories, and the theory, it's not basically truth.
It can change, exactly.
A law
It
is a
sounds like
truth.
it's possible, so they go with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said, their private interpretation. You know what I mean? They can just say whatever. But then there could be an opposite side of the fence. Oh, I don't agree with that. But who's right?
Yeah.
You can decide who's right personally, but guess what? There's only one truth, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Give me Psalm 40. What's the will of God?
Oh God, I don't know. I got no idea.
Okay, hey, it's not a problem. You can read it real quick. Give me that.
This is Psalms 40:8. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yeah, thy law is within my heart.
The laws of God. Who got the laws of God? The Israelites. We're saying you're an Israelite. You just learned that today, but guess what? Once you start recognizing that, because we can go into the history. Like I say, you got your cat at home, you got to feed your cat, maybe give it some water, whatever, play with it. Who knows? But guess what? There's plenty of videos you can look at after you leave here if you don't come back for a while. But at the same time, we have history on the quote unquote Mexicans that prove they're Israelites and books.